Welcome to The Explainer. You know, the world of crypto can feel like this wild, really confusing place. But what if I told you the biggest dangers aren't some super complex code, but just simple human psychology? Today, we're going to unpack a survivor's guide using some powerful wisdom that, honestly, anyone can master to stay safe. So let's just start with the biggest question on pretty much everyone's mind. You see all the headlines about scams and people losing money, and you just have to wonder, right? Is this whole digital world just too risky for the average person to even think about getting involved in? Well, here's the really interesting thing. The technology itself, it's not the real enemy here. The real danger actually comes from three very human impulses that scammers have gotten incredibly good at exploiting. Our tendency to rush, that little voice telling us we can get a quick win, and sometimes, well, just not knowing what we don't know. So our very first step is to correctly identify who or maybe what the real enemy is. And it's not some shadowy hacker in a hoodie. It's all about understanding and, managing our own psychology when we're faced with all that temptation. This completely reframes the entire problem, doesn't it? We tend to imagine the biggest threat is some tech genius breaking super complex code. But in reality, the much more common threat is just a scammer tricking you into handing over the keys. So it's a huge shift from fighting technology to learning how to manage our own reactions. So how in the world do we defend against these psychological traps? Well, it all starts with protecting your digital home base. And that begins with the single most important concept you have got to grasp in this entire space. You've probably heard it called a seed phrase, or just your 12 words. But please, don't let that simple name fool you. Understanding what this phrase truly is, it's the absolute cornerstone of crypto safety. It is not just a password. It is so much more. Think of it like this. These 12 little words are everything. They're the key to your house, they're the login to your bank, they are your legally binding signature, and they're the combination to your safe, all rolled into one. It is the literal physical ownership of your assets.
And this brings us to a simple and kind of brutal truth. If someone else gets their hands on this phrase, the crypto is theirs, instantly. And there's no customer service line you can call, there's no bank manager who can help you reverse it, it's just gone.
Okay, so the most crucial point is this. Your most important digital secret has to live entirely in the physical world. Write it down on paper, period. Maybe make a couple of copies and store them in totally separate secure locations, but never, and I mean ever, let it touch anything connected to the internet. No screenshots, no saving it to the cloud, no emailing it to yourself, ever. Now here's a pro tip, a simple strategy that can slash your risk by over 90%. Use two wallets. Think of one as your savings account, your safe wallet. It holds the majority of your funds and you never connect it to new websites. Then you have your working wallet, kind of like a checking account. You just keep a small amount in there for experimenting. That way, if it ever gets compromised, your main house, your savings, is still totally safe. All right, so your home base is secure. Now it's time to explore. But how do you navigate this wider world of Web3 safely and, with some confidence? Okay, get ready for this, because here's an insight that catches so many people completely off guard. We're all trained to be super careful when we click send, right? Because we're giving away money. But in crypto, clicking approve, oh man, that can be far more dangerous. Just think about it this way. Clicking send is a one-time transaction, but approve? Approve is you giving a smart contract, a piece of code, ongoing permission to access and move your funds whenever it wants. It is literally like pre-signing a whole stack of blank checks and just handing them over. You have to be absolutely sure who you're giving that power to. And this is the scammer's #1 tool to get you to click that approve button without thinking. They create this intense sense of urgency. You'll see words pop up like urgent, claim now, last chance. They do this to fire up your haste and your greed, to stop you from slowing down and actually reading the details. Just remember, if it's a real, legitimate opportunity, it can wait 10 seconds. So let's put all these rules together and apply them to a really common and pretty clever modern trap that's catching a lot of people off guard. It's called the dusting attack. So here's how it starts. You open your wallet one day and you see some tokens you don't recognize. And they might have these really exciting names like free airdrop or bonus reward. Your first thought is probably, whoa, free money. But you've got to remember this, 99% of these are traps. See, this is a perfect example of how scammers use our own psychology against us. They drop in a worthless token to spark your curiosity and your greed. So you go to their website to try and sell it, and that's exactly where the trap springs. The site asks you to approve the token so you can sell it, but what you're really approving is a malicious contract that can then go in and drain your real valuable assets. You literally end up giving them permission to rob you. So what's the super sophisticated defense against this clever attack? It's beautifully simple. You do nothing. That's it. You just ignore them. If you don't interact with those weird tokens, they are completely powerless. They're totally harmless. They're just junk mail sitting in your digital mailbox. Your most powerful action here is inaction.
So what does this all add up to? Well, it's not just about memorizing a list of rules. It's about developing a kind of survivor's mindset that's going to make sure you can navigate this new digital frontier for the long haul.
You don't need to be a coding genius or a financial expert to survive and even thrive here. The reality is, if you can just burn these 3 simple laws into your brain, you will avoid the exact pitfalls that take out 90% of other people. So, control your greed, control your haste, and above all, control your keys.
And this quote, this really gets to the heart of the whole thing. The goal isn't just about finding the next big thing and making a quick buck. The real goal is longevity. It's about being careful, being deliberate, and just staying in the game long enough to see where all this technology truly goes.
And that's really our final takeaway. In this new world, true wealth isn't just about how much you can accumulate, it's about being able to preserve it. The most valuable asset you can possibly have is the knowledge to protect yourself. The only question is, are you ready to build that foundation?
Thanks for joining us.